Going into a new year, some people will say a new decade, but I disagree with them. How can we start changing the things we consume to start a new routine?
Yeah, I think it's having a vision of what you want to become, right? Where there is no vision, people perish. And so it's like most people are just going through life, going through the motions, right? And we go to our job, we do our job, we come home, we hang out with our family, we go to sleep, we wake up and we repeat. And you can label that a good life, a reasonable life, a safe life. But I think if you talk to most people, there's something missing, right? Because they're not fully alive. And them being fully alive, by the way, doesn't mean they change jobs. Like, it's just showing up to their job in a different way with a different mindset. To your point, it's different habits, how we consume certain things. And so it's having a vision for who you want to become. Okay, if I want to be this version of me as a husband, as a dad, as a business owner, as a leader, as a human, well, that requires something of me, right? I can't just expect it. Like, just because I want it doesn't mean anything. And we live in a culture where people expect things. They feel entitled, like, well, if I just want this, so yeah, I'm gonna get it. It's just gonna happen. And I remember someone years ago I knew, they would show up every day at their job, like early on, hey, when do I get a promotion? When do I get, like, how do I get promoted? What does that look like? And we can label that ambition, which ambition is a great thing. But it was really saying, okay, I think I'm ready for this. I think I deserve this. And it's like, too many are showing up saying, pick me, pick me. It's like, well, all you've done is shown up and say, pick me. Like, do the work. You have to actually put in the work and change your habits. And so I think it comes from having a vision of who you want to be, and then a commitment to actually creating that change. And most of that time, like, we use a tool all the time called the change equation. And it only comes when you're dissatisfied with where you are. And you have to be clear about that level of dissatisfaction. If you're like a 3 out of 10 dissatisfied with your health, you're not gonna change your eating habits, right? It's just not gonna happen. You're just like, your health is an annoyance to you, but you're not dissatisfied with it. Because you have no real vision of like where you wanna be. Like, your vision is below the level of dissatisfaction. But if your vision is higher than the level of dissatisfaction, and your dissatisfaction is like an 8, like, man, I'm really frustrated. I don't like where I'm at physically. I'm not healthy. But I can see, like, yeah, if I lose 30 pounds, I can see that version of me. That serves as like motivation. Okay, great. So now I know where I want to go. Well, that seems overwhelming, right? So whatever you want to change heading to 2021, you're not going to change it by January 1, right? So you're not going to lose the 30 pounds, especially during the holiday season. You're not going to become the best leader you can be by January 1. You're not going to whatever. You don't have to. You can get on the path. Right? It's like, what's the natural next step? What's one thing you can do? And so to break your vision, to break your goals down into like a doable thing today. Because you're not gonna change your habits today, right? But you can start to change your habits today. I had a conversation with someone recently where, like, this idea of practicing gratitude, which is a very simple thing. It's Thanksgiving week, but also sounds really cheesy. But we talk about our mental health and mental strength and our mindset and gratitude. And I started looking at it the other day. I said, if you spend 10 minutes a day, and I guarantee that you have 10 minutes a day. If you don't have 10 minutes a day, like, we need to have a conversation, because like, things are not going well. But 10 minutes a day on your mindset, on gratitude. If you did it every day, you would spend over 60 hours a year focused on your mindset. What would that do for your year? What would that do for your relationships? What would that do for your influence? What would that do for your overall health? 60 hours that you probably spent 0 on last year. And I kind of equated that to, like, me running. I'll probably run 360-ish miles this year in like 42 hours. Feels like I put a lot of hours into running. Like 42 hours is what I'm gonna run this year. Way less than 60. But the impact, the benefit of that is insane. Like, I cannot quantify like the benefit that running has on my life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. Same thing for whatever you want to start doing in 2021, spend 10 minutes a day. Commit to spending 10 minutes a day, and you'll start to see change. And as you get those little successes, then you build on it, right? Because you get frustrated because you can't climb the mountain today. You can't run the marathon today. You don't have to. Can you walk 10 minutes today? Can you read for 10 minutes today? Can you journal for 10 minutes today? Can you connect with your people for 10 minutes today? So I think it's breaking it down into small things. Small, consistent actions are really the only way forward, right? It's like, you don't get better overnight. You get better by doing the same thing, by showing up in the same way every single day.
My one of my favorite things that someone's told me in that thread is if you write a thank you note a day, you will never be behind on thank you notes. So the guy who told me that writes a thank you note every day.
Yep.
And he's never behind on thank you notes.
That's right.
It's also my dad.
Yeah. But it's, and here's what I'll say. You make time for the things that you care about. Right? It's like, I had a boss one time tell me, he was asked me something about what I valued. And I gave him some answer. He said, so what do you do in the morning? This is 12 years ago. I was like, I wake up and I watch SportsCenter. He said, then you value watching SportsCenter. You don't value this, you're not spending any time on it. Fair point, right? We talk about the things that we say what we value, but our actions show what we value. So if you value getting better, if you let's say you want to write a book, sit down and write a book. It's like, you're never gonna find the time, so make the time. It's like, if that's something you truly value, sit down and write it. You're not gonna write a book tonight. You can write a paragraph. That's a win, right? That's progress. And so it's committing to the action. So James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits, which we probably mentioned a dozen times, he's got a great quote that says, every decision you make is a vote for the kind of person you want to become. It's like, so, intentional versus accidental, right? If you want to become this type of person, that demands something of you today. Put every decision you make through the filter of like who you want to become. Does this get you closer to that or further from that? And you've got to live with, if it's further and you still do it, like it's okay. Like you're not gonna always do the right thing, but you got to live with the consequences of that, saying, and being honest with yourself, saying, I actually don't want that. Because I'm not really committed to doing the work of like walking through the muck and the mess of getting there, because it's not easy. Whatever your goals are, like it doesn't matter what your goals are difficult, because that's a future version of us that we're trying to get to, which requires hard work, which requires change. It's an acknowledgement that we're not who we want to be. We're not in the place that we want to be in. And that's not beating yourself up. It's just saying, I'm not where I want to be yet. That requires that I change something, and change is really, really difficult. And so but if you're not willing to do the work, then you don't really want it. And that's okay. Just be honest with yourself.